1 year ago, I started this YouTube channel with a simple dream: to share my love for the olfactive arts with an audience. For a few months, I made videos consistently talking about my favorite fragrances, brands, and perfumers. But by the end of 2023, I felt like something was missing. I had hit this wall. I felt like I was unable to truly study, analyze, and appreciate fragrance the way I wanted to. Of course, I could offer my opinion on smell and longevity or projection, but I longed for something deeper. I wanted an understanding of the chemistry, the structure of fragrance, the material and their sources, and how everything becomes a harmonious blend. After a few weeks of reflecting, I understood one simple fact: to truly appreciate a piece of art, you need to become an artist. And by extension, since my goal was to break down the art of fragrance for you guys, I wanted to make sure that I could do it to the best of my abilities. So at the end of 2023, I decided to take a break from YouTube and begin my journey to become a perfumer. Hello everyone, my name is Surya and it's been a while since you've seen me. I am now a certified perfumer, and on this channel, the goal is to bring the fragrance experience to all 5 of your senses. But before we do that in future videos, I wanted to make this transition video. My channel used to be from the perspective of just an enthusiast, of someone that just truly loved and appreciated fragrance. But I have spent the last 9 months learning both the art and the science of fragrance. I wanted to talk you through the journey of how I got my fragrance certifications and what it means for this channel. Of course, certification is just the first step, it's just the foundation over which the rest of my fragrance development practice will be built. But more on that at the end. So why, as a reviewer, did I decide to become a certified perfumer? Well, this idea actually came to me at Scent Explore 2023. Scent Explore is one of the biggest fragrance conferences here in the US, and it's held in New York every December. At this 2-day conference, I spent these 2 days smelling all kinds of fragrances, from indie brands all the way up to large niche brands. I talked to the perfumers behind the actual perfumes. Of course, smelling new fragrances is not something new to me, but what was new is talking to the perfumers behind these artworks. When I saw the passion in their eyes, something in me just clicked. I wanted to learn how to do this myself. So on the flight back home from New York, I started looking at what the path was to becoming a perfumer. But unfortunately, it wasn't as simple as I thought. So the obvious first choice is to go to Perfumery school. It's a 2-year master's program where they teach you everything you can ever want to learn about perfumery. But there are a couple of problems. Of course, Perfumery school is very selective and it's very expensive. You need to already have a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry before you enroll. Finally, the main goal of going to Perfumery school is to work in the industry. This path was for someone looking to work at the large fragrance houses. That's when I realized this path wasn't for me. To understand why, I need to explain the difference between mass market perfumery and artisan perfumery. So mass market fragrances are by definition mass appealing. These are usually created by the large designer houses that the average person knows and loves. These fragrances are designed based on market research. Companies conduct surveys and focus groups and test what materials work well for the average consumer. And using these survey results, they come up with something mass appealing. This is because the amount of investment they put into releasing each fragrance means that the fragrance cannot fail. They cannot take artistic liberties. They cannot be creative with their product. Of course, I have nothing against designer fragrances. In fact, I have a lot of them here behind me. Designer fragrances serve a certain need in the market. The average person just does not need a $500 fragrance that depicts the Amazon rainforest. They simply want something affordable, wearable, and that'll get them compliments. This is the market that mass appealing fragrances serve. But there's an entire world of perfumery outside mass appealing fragrances. The artisan fragrance market is a market that looks at perfumery like a fine art. Each fragrance is handcrafted with a vision. Unlike mass appealing fragrances, which are external facing, meaning they are designed by looking at the audience that is going to purchase it, artisan fragrances are internal facing. They're designed by the artist looking deep into their soul and coming up with a smell that represents who they really are. This style of perfumery is not really what the large perfume schools aim to teach. So that brings me to path number 2. Complete self-study. Now, self-study obviously has its own advantages. You don't need to spend a bunch of money on a course. You can learn at your own pace, and you can immediately start experimenting with materials. But the problem with self-study is simply slow progress. You'll make a lot of mistakes that are so easily avoidable if you just had a mentor. But perfumery is not just about creating something that smells good. It's about material science. It's about legalities and safeties. It's about logistics. It's about knowing the underlying structure of fragrance. Now, these are all things that can be learned online, but it's a lot safer to find a mentor that has been through this entire process. So this brings me to path number 3, which is the middle ground between complete self-study and a 2-year perfumery school. This is short-term perfumery certification programs. So the premise of a certification program is very simple. It condenses the 2-year perfumery school experience down to a few months by focusing on the most important aspects of becoming a perfumer. Of course, there are a few caveats with this. The first is obviously picking the right program. It is very important to do your research and find someone that has decades of experience in the real perfume industry who has then moved to teaching, rather than someone who has probably self-learned themselves and just started a course after that. The other caveat with these certification programs is they are not the end goal. They are the beginning, the foundation. Once you get certified, it doesn't mean you know everything there is to know about fragrance and now you can just start a company. The certification program simply gives you a roadmap. It tells you all the things you need to learn and practice, and leaves the rest up to you. The next few years of learning materials, of practicing blends, of playing around with all the different concepts that you need to know for perfumery are in your own hands. So I need to re-emphasize, a perfume certification is just the foundation. It is not the equivalent to a degree from a perfumery school. It is simply a way to avoid the common pitfalls that come about with self-learning perfumery. So in my research of trying to find the best online perfumery schools, 2 options stuck out the most. The first was Experimental Perfume Club. Now this was started by a perfumer named Emmanuelle Moglin, and she has decades of experience in the industry. The second was Artisan Perfumery Mastermind by Karen Gilbert. Now she too has decades of experience in the traditional perfume industry. She has her own YouTube channel and her own podcast. Now I will put the exact course prices down here, but both these courses were around $2,000 to $2,500. Now the reason I narrowed it down to these 2 courses was simple. They're both accredited certification programs. Both these certifications come from CPD, which stands for Continuing Professional Development. This is a certification service in the UK which makes sure that the course is held to a certain standard. This is what makes these certificates accredited and legitimate in comparison to a random certificate that you would get from other perfumery courses. If I was picking a course, I would definitely look for something that is accredited. Of course, these certificates don't mean much if you're trying to join the perfume industry, but as an artisan perfumer, they give you the guarantee that the course is held to a certain standard. This lets you know that you are definitely getting what you pay for. I actually took and completed both of these courses, so I'll be making a more in-depth video about the pros and cons of both these courses. In my opinion, both courses focused on different aspects of perfumery and actually complemented each other really well. Both courses covered safety, materials, accords, structuring, composition, and legalities. Experimental Perfume Club actually ships you a basic kit with a lot of materials for you to start playing with that have already been pre-diluted. They focused on building simple accords, learning materials, and playing around in a very safe manner. Artisan Perfumery Mastermind, on the other hand, focused more on the theory behind building a fragrance. We learned the history of perfume, how to create and follow briefs, how to blend harmonious accords, all with the help of simple but easy to understand frameworks. Like I said before, both of these courses were pivotal in building my basic foundation of perfumery. If you're someone that's just starting on your perfumery journey and would like a more in-depth comparison of both of these courses, please let me know in the comments. The most important thing for me is to connect with you. I want to build this fragrance family. I want to bridge the gap between reviewer and enthusiast and perfumer. And in order to do that, I want to be able to talk to you one-on-one. So I got this simple idea. You can book a one-on-one call with me. We can talk about anything from fragrance consulting, or what course do I think you should take, how you should get started with perfumery, what fragrances do you want to buy, or anything you want to talk about. This is completely free. I'm not going to charge you for it at all. I just want to be able to connect with you out there in the fragrance community. If that sounds kind of exciting to you, there's a Calendly link down in the description, so you can click that and you can book a call. I can't wait to talk to you. So what's next for my channel? Like I said before, certification is just the beginning. I'm going to continue learning my materials, playing with my blends, trying to create art that inspires me. I'm also going to use this perfumery background to better guide my fragrance reviews. I can now start to see the underlying intention behind fragrances and why they're created the way they are. And sometime in the future, I want to bring in my engineering, my design, and my business experience and build a company that truly represents me. Of course, this may be a few years down the line, but I want to develop a line of fragrances that is the purest representation of who I am. And I would obviously love to have you along with me on this journey to becoming a perfumer. I've also started getting requests for bespoke fragrances. Bespoke fragrances are unique, one-of-a-kind fragrances that are made for a specific person. In this case, the perfumer works intimately with the client to make a one-of-a-kind fragrance just for them. Now, generally, bespoke fragrances are very expensive, starting at around $5,000 and going all the way up to the multiple tens of thousands of dollars. But the experience of having a fragrance that is unique to you is not something that should be gate-kept for the people that can afford it. In fact, the happiest I've ever felt in this hobby was when I made my first ever fragrance blend from scratch. So in the future, I will be offering this service at a very affordable price. I'm still gauging interest, so if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, book a call with me and we'll talk more about it. So if you're a fragrance enthusiast, I hope this video was entertaining. And if you're a beginner perfumer, I hope it inspires you to start something new. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I can't wait to see how far we'll go together. I'll see you in the next video.